Why not get walked off again for the Baltimore Orioles, the 4th time of the season? And if I'm not mistaken, that is the 13th time, if not the 12th time, the Blue Jays have been walked off. I think it's the 13th time they've been walked off this season. The most in the major leagues. Now, like I said in the video literally a couple days ago, look, we've succumbed to the fact this Blue Jays team is going to lose games the rest of the way. We understand they're not a playoff team. We understand they're not even going to be a 500 club the rest of the way. I get that. But I am getting really tired of this team getting walked off. Every time we go into extra innings, I'm like, well, how are we going to get walked off this time? And the Blue Jays did have opportunities to score, but could not come through. Countless double plays in extra innings, and the Jays just couldn't muster up anything whatsoever. And it was just brutal. But the game started off very, very nice for the Blue Jays, as in the 3rd inning, Donaldson is a 3-run shot again. I didn't bring the umbrella because this team is just so damn frustrating. And you look at it, Richard Urania gets the walk. Up next, Teoscar Hernandez, leading off hitting leadoff in this game. He gets a single. And then Donaldson comes up and hits a 3-run shot, scoring both those guys. Teoscar Hernandez ends up 1 for 3 with, obviously, the single and the scored run. And Richard Urania ends up 0 for 2, scores a run, but he walked 3 times. So that's very good to see from him as well. Ryan Goins, I thought, was good today, 2 for 5 in this one. But really, other than Donaldson, Ryan Goins, and a couple of the rookies, there were really nobody else. Michael Saunders came in and literally gave the Blue Jays the 4-3 lead with the RBI single, ripping it to Chris Davis, who couldn't handle it. But another story of the season, the Jays can't hold a lead, and Roberto Osuna blows his 9th game of the season. Look, there's got to be something wrong with this kid. There really does. And something that they talked about today, and I'm really starting to look into it more. Roberto Osuna has to stop throwing his cutter on the inner half of the plate. If it's on the outer half, nobody's going to really hit that. But it cuts back over the middle of the plate, back on the inner half, and people get their barrel out in front. How did Wellington Castillo hit that home run to tie the ball game? It was a cutter that ran in, and it's slower than your fastball. Your 94, 95 four-seam, it's a about 92 mile an hour cutter, and it cuts in, he's ready for it, and he drills it, and it leaves the yard. And then he comes back with, I think, the next batter, a cutter on the outer half. The guy swings right through it. And it's just, the cutter is probably the most overused pitch in this game. It doesn't do a lot, but when it does a lot over the middle of the plate, and it gets crushed. And that's why you see Marco Estrada struggling. If I'm not mistaken, he has a cutter or a 2-seam or something that he's struggling with. But it's so tough to see Roberto Osuna pitching the way he is. And I think the main attribute to Roberto Osuna not being Roberto Osuna is the fact of he doesn't have that fastball velocity. We're not seeing 96, 97, maybe a touch of 98 anymore. Having that as your weapon, plus a nice wipeout curveball and a pretty good changeup, is always nice to have. But Roberto Osuna's, he's down to 93, 94 miles an hour. That's not going to beat anybody, right? Everyone's ready for that. Your cutter's only 92, it's not much different. It just moves a little bit. So I think that's the main attribute to Roberto Osuna not playing well. I don't know if that's physically there's something wrong, maybe fatigue, maybe he's still hurting from the offseason. But then again, I don't know. I have no idea what his problem is. But Blue Jays lose again in walk-off fashion. I'm just going to keep reiterating it because it's a constant over the whole entire season. But if you're looking at one positive, Brett Anderson gave us another pretty good start. Went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, struck out 3 guys. I thought he was pretty good over his start, and the bullpen was pretty good. Tom Kohler came out, did an all right job. Tepera did fine. Carlos Ramirez, continues his scoreless streak in the major leagues. Throws 2 innings in extras, gives up a hit, doesn't walk a batter, strikes out 2. He was great. And Denny Barnes, and this guy has struggled mightily hard as of late, and he gives up 2 hits. And obviously the walk-off run for the Orioles. But like I said, Danny Barnes has not been very good as of late. You know, yes, he's gotten thrown up some zeros, kind of, but today he was rough. Yeah, on the first, he had a solid inning, but then on the 31st, he gave up 2 hits. You know, and then that's never a good thing. And then the outing before, he gave up 3 runs. Then he had a scoreless inning. Then he gave up another run. Right? Danny Barnes is not being very consistent as of late. And I think that's really hurting this team because of how consistent he was earlier in the season. Now, I think he'll bounce back eventually, but it's just a matter of time. But for this team, I'm just so sick and tired of getting walked off. It's just becoming the norm with this team. I honestly, I prefer a 7-1 loss over a 5-4 walk-off game. Because it's emotionally not as tough. But right now, it's just ridiculous for the Toronto Blue Jays. And it doesn't get any easier. Why? Because now we go to Boston to take on the Red Sox. J.A Happ versus Rick Porcello. That's game 1. Porcello pitched amazing against the Blue Jays in his last outing. Marco Estrada versus Eduardo Rodriguez. And then Doug Fister versus Joe Biagini. Those are the 3 games. And then the Jays have the day off. And on that day off, you're darn right, I have not forgotten, Leafs Raptors season preview will be happening on that day. But if you're looking at a positive, well, we don't see Chris Sale. I mean, I think that's the one positive you got to take out of what we are going to see in this 3-game series against Boston. But Jays had an opportunity of going into that series with a 3-1 series win over the Orioles, but now you got a 2-2 split. Nothing really happens for you. And, you know, I don't even know what to say. The Boston Red Sox are a team that's struggling a little bit as of late, but they just swept the Blue Jays. They've been killing the Jays all season long, and the Jays just have not been playing good ball really at all. So, you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. A little bit of a shorter video because really it's just the same old. Jays lose. Jays get walked off. You know, Donaldson hits a home run, but the Jays find a way to lose. You know, it's kind of like I feel like a broken record at times, and it sucks because there's still like 20-something odd games to go, and I'm pulling my hair out every step of the way. But hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below what you guys think of this game. What do you guys think is wrong with Roberto Osuna? I really want to have. Also, what's your opinion on the whole cutter situation about throwing that pitch? Because I'm not a huge fan of it, especially when you're trying to bust some guy inside with a cutter. It doesn't usually work. But let me know what you guys thought about that, the game, the upcoming series against the Red Sox, and you guys pumped for the Leafs and Raptors season as they are getting closer and closer. That is right, we'll be doing videos for preseason and streaming the home openers for both teams. That's all going to be very exciting. All right, but first, we will talk to you guys tomorrow night. It's Labor Day. People have the day off. I got the day off. Let's watch a ball game. Jays, Red Sox, J.A Happ, Rick Porcello. Talk to you guys then.